get the vibe that they're going for. It is fucking awesome.
Well, you already told me about it, and you
hilarious.
showed me a clip or two, and I was just like, "This is awesome."
Do you like some biscotti?
Would you like some biscottis?
Let's see what else. On streaming though, on Netflix, there's a documentary called The Family. I'm not going to get too much into it because it's going to depend on your interest in it, but it's kind of a documentary series with 5 episodes that is about this religious group that has ties to all sorts of political and powerful figures in the world.
Huh.
It's pretty interesting.
I might have had that on at one point. I think so. Maybe I was talking. There was another one. It was about some company that influenced like Facebook or some shit like that. Something analytical or something like that.
Oh yeah, I know about that one.
Yeah.
This one, the only thing that threw me off about this one, The Family, is it went into, which I'm not a fan of in documentaries, but it does work in this one, is like dramatic reenactments. They're not dramatic.
Like unsolved mysteries?
Well, not really, but it's like the guy is talking and then it kind of went to like a flashback and it's like showing his story that he's started to tell you and then it's finishing it.
Okay.
And then now it's getting a little bit more, like towards the end it gets a little bit more, how do I say, less of those reenactments. Does that make sense? So more like pictures, facts, actual footage. You know what I'm seeing? Like documents, things like that. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
Interviews with people.
It's something about true crime when you get a little bit older for some reason. Like you just start watching.
I don't know.
It's like it's like the serial killer run that like Netflix and Hulu has had. Jesus Christ,
there's so many.
Everything's like serial killer on that fucking channel.
On Viceland, there is
it's crazy.
The Devil You Know is still on, and that's really hooked me and the wife.
Most of the TV shows are coming back now after the summer, so we have a lot of stuff that's coming back, like the Goldbergs is back. As I said, I like that show a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm looking forward to all the newer seasons of everything that we watched last year for it. So everything's kind of coming back for it. Yeah, Cambridge Analytical or Analytica or something.
Analytica,
whatever.
Oh, I've heard of them.
Yeah, yeah. It was a big deal, and that documentary was really big. Yeah.
If I would recommend another documentary from a while back that kind of predicted all this stuff, it's called We Live in Public, and it's directed by the same woman who made a documentary I like called Dig, about the Dandy Warhols and more about the Brian Jonestown Massacre.
Well, speaking of streaming,
yeah, sorry,
Tubi.
We Live in Public. You should watch that.
Tubi has that's something I just discovered.
Yeah.
I know it's been out forever.
TUBI.
Just discovered it. You could download it on most of your favorite, casting devices or whatever.
If they want to sponsor us, we're totally open.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
This thing is awesome, dude.
They have, I watched the Munchies on it.
It's got the stuff.
Yes,
Night
and I
of
watched
the
that one the
Comet.
other day.
Did you really?
Night of the Comet.
Chud.
Chud, Chud 2.
House 2.
God.
There's
and
a
then
bunch.
the music documentaries, they do the classic album series, which
Really?
I've burned through like 4 of those. I've burned through like 3 Rolling Stones live shows.
I didn't even get to that. I was
Black Sabbath,
No way.
Deep Purple,
What?
all the really shitty British documentaries about these bands that is like people from nowhere. They're like, oh yeah, I used to write for blah blah blah, some magazine, and they're talking about these albums being made or these really big times. Because I've been really into the Rolling Stones here lately. Just watching anything and everything. I don't know why. It's just like YouTube and shit like that.
Tubi, though. Check that app
But
out.
Tubi, yeah, is like got a lot of really cool stuff, and it's free.
It's free.
That's the coolest part. Like,
I didn't even have to make an account.
No, yeah.
No,
You just like open it up and start watching.
Yeah, I was casting it to my TV, I mean, and...
Do you know IMDb has movies and TV shows for free, too?
For real?
Yeah, you can just go in there and stream movies and TV. Huh. It's like a limited selection, but like...
Yeah.
It's not...
It's still another thing to add to the list.
Yeah.
Like,
there's so much that you can have. You don't need pay TV pretty much anymore.
It depends on what you want to watch.
Which is blasphemy from where I come from.
I need pay TV.
What, Texas?
No, yeah.
I like to keep up with like the newest episodes of certain things.
Right. Which I think when Apple Plus comes out, that's going to be another big thing for everybody on the streaming part of it.
And you know, NBC's doing the Peacock app.
Yeah.
They're coming out with one that's called the Peacock, and that's why The Office and Parks and Rec are coming off of Netflix, which, oh my God, that's going to sting.
Well,
But
right
not
now,
till like 2021, right?
Yeah, it's
right
always
now,
away, but
yeah,
still.
Friends is going to be the big one for Netflix for a while. Netflix put out too much original content, I think, over the summer.
Thanks for
kinda
calling
killed 'em.
Netflix. You've been greenlit. How can I help you?
Yes. Which I think kind of hurt them because they weren't putting the classic stuff on. But even on that Tubi, you can watch fucking old shows.
There's
like
a lot of stuff on there.
fucking
Dude.
MASH if you wanted to, which is crazy.
So
Not really, I guess.
Tubi, friend of the show, highly recommended. Not a sponsor.
Yeah, highly recommend it. As far as like new DVDs coming out, do we have any kind of beats on those?
Just Spider-Man: Homecoming is going to be out here.
Midsommar, Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
No, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, that's right. They're probably going to redo.
They're close
Once Upon
though.
a Time in
Mexico, Hollywood's
yeah.
close.
Yeah, they're like connected. Baja separates them.
Baja. Baja.
But Baja is Mexico.
Baja Blast from Taco Bell.
Music
Not a
wise?
sponsor.
Do you guys have any music news?
Music. Let's see. Remember that Mudhoney album's out.
Pretty good. We listened to a little bit of it today.
Yeah, it's pretty dang good. And what was that? The Black Keys, Brock. I want you to talk a little bit. You saw the Black Keys live.
Yes, I did.
Oh my
Yes, I
God.
did. Got to go see the Black Keys.
That's awesome.
I'm still to this day now after seeing the Black Keys. Who do I want to see live anymore? There's not a lot anymore for me because I've kind of almost checked off most of my bucket list. To see the Black Keys, I wasn't going to go because their fucking tickets were expensive. But because it was sponsored by Ticketmaster or some shit like that. The show is fucking awesome. Their first band, Repeat. If you get a chance to listen to them, they're pretty good. Produced by the drummer Pat Carney. So he produced their first, their debut record, I guess.
The openers.
Yeah, they were the openers for them. They played for about a good 25 minutes, 30 minutes, something like that. Really, really high energy band, really cool. They really were appreciative of being there on such a big, giant tour, which was awesome. Part 2 of the show was fucking Modest Mouse. Now, I love fucking Modest Mouse. I love Modest Mouse.
We were talking about this earlier.
Every bit of Modest Mouse I like, but I'm more a fan of everything up until The Moon in Antarctica, which is like...
it's a great album.
The Fruit That Ate Itself was like one of my favorite records. This Is a Long Drive with Nothing to Talk About.
That was a great one.
And then one of my favorite all time is Lonesome Crowded West.
Great album.
And I bought the vinyl for The Moon in Antarctica whenever it came out. So I bought that back in like 2001 or some shit like that. So it's kind of one of my oldest records that I got. But I gotta say, somebody got fired that night for real because of the sound. Because I was just like,
oh yeah, you told me about this.
I was just like, something was wrong with Isaac Brock's guitar. It just didn't come off right. Even my wife was like, they don't sound that good.
And that was on a lot of their popular songs, you said?
Yeah, and I think that maybe I'm just, again, romanticizing it. Maybe that's not the right way to put it, but I think he was kind of fucking them up on purpose. A little ways. Because people were like, oh, Float On, yeah. But whenever they played Dramamine, I was like, oh my God, fucking this is a great song for them to play. And a lot of the older stuff that they did play was really awesome. But then it just was really, really loud. Then the Black Keys come out, and they started off really bare bones. They had the curtain behind them. Everything like that was really cool. And they played I Got Mine to start off the show, which was fucking pretty bitchin'. And I think that's got to be one of their go-to ones to kind of get everybody hyped up for the show, which I thought was weird, too, because they actually had floor seating. Yeah, right. Weird. That's not the craziest part, too, and I'll get to that here in a second. Dan Auerbach is probably one of the best guitar players out there right now, I think.
Sure.
And the whole band that he had behind him, too. He had a brother and two brothers. One was a bass player, one was a guitar player, and then they had a third guitar player, too. And they were ripping it. They were just as great as they were on record, but better, because it was live, which was really cool. Then whenever they did their encore, which was the crazy part, they full Spinal Tapped it.
Wait.
And I'm going to say this in a way that's complimentary, but at the same time, it's more tongue-in-cheek, because the title of their record is Let's Rock, and they got that title because some dude was on the electric chair, and they asked him, you have any last words? And he's like, let's rock. So that's where they got the title of the record.
Right.
That's what I've read.
Cover has
and it has the electric chair on it. Their stage show is awesome. Behind them, after that first song, they had so many really cool effects. The cameras were great. Everything was visually just an awesome show, right? Even from the nosebleed section, it was pretty good. And so they left for their encore because they're going to come back, right? And then while they were waiting, they basically waited for this giant inflatable fucking electric chair. And I'm thinking, this is fucking Spinal Tap right here.
That's
they
awesome.
went full Spinal Tap on it, but embraced it, which was really cool. So they played 2 new songs off of their new record, and they closed with another badass song, to kind of end it out. And they played for like maybe an hour and a half or something like that. This was the first show of this tour, too, the Let's Rock
Really?
tour.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't know why Denver almost gets most of the first runs, the very first shows or the first 4. Like when I saw Iggy Pop, it was like show number 4. So they were pretty warmed up by the time I saw the Post Pop Depression band, which was really awesome. And they killed it at that opera house. But this one, you could tell they were not necessarily working out the kinks, but there was probably a few kinks that they were checking on, just to see. Because at one point, I think Dan Auerbach's guitar kind of fuzzed out a little bit. But they soldiered on. They didn't get pissed. Nobody did anything stupid like throw something, They were really professional about it. And those guys were a great live show. But I thought, too, why don't they have, like, stand-ups, right in front of the stage? They should have, like, a section blocked off just for people to stand, too.
Right.
Even the Stones did. You know what I mean? So, but great show. If you get a chance to go see it, go see the Black Keys. Just because, they play a lot of their really good songs. They play... the new record is not bad either. Compared to their other stuff, I think everybody's kind of stuck on the fuzzy stuff, But at the same time,
like
they really
first 3.
Yeah, they kind of really bring a lot of that into the show because they know that's what people like. So they're very appreciative of their audience,
right?
Cool.
And sometimes, like, I don't know why, but sometimes like you'll hear songs live from a new album that you haven't heard, and you're like, "Oh, that's awesome!" And then you hear it on the CD, and you're like,
really.
I don't know why it's different. And then sometimes it's the opposite where they're awful live, and then thank God the music on the CD is decent, but you just hope they would be good live too.
Yeah, well, this is leading me to the next show that I'm going to get to go see too, which is Morrissey and Interpol.
Dude, Interpol. I like Interpol.
Yeah, my wife went and saw Morrissey in Austin with Interpol, and she said it was, again, she's seen Morrissey like 5 times so far now.
Damn.
I went and saw him with her at the Paramount in Denver, which to me was a life-changing show. You know what I mean? I like the Smiths, but Morrissey is fucking pretty badass. He's a great singer. Most of his views, of course, nobody really agrees with. But what you can agree with is he's a very good singer and he's a very good crooner, and he puts on a hell of a show.
Cool.
Like, he always has these backdrops to these old movies that are going off, like weird stuff.
Like artsy black and white stuff.
But what changed me is he played this song called Gang Lord. And this song is a really great song, too. It's off of one of his albums. I think it's called Swords, right? So it came out maybe about 6-7 years ago, maybe a little bit longer. But it's basically the way that they had this, and this stunned the whole audience too. Like, everybody was kind of silent whenever this song came on, because they were showing in the movie screen behind everything all of these police brutality videos. Yeah. And everybody was just like, holy shit, they were flipping off the screen. They were just like, fuck this. And it was just a really surreal moment with everybody in the theater, not really jumping around, moving too much. And it was just like, oh my God, this changed my whole outlook on Morrissey 100%. Now, he doesn't allow meat at his place, right? Like, there's signs before you go in that says no meat allowed. Like, literally, it's one of the craziest things. So what, of course, me and my wife did before we went to go see him the first time, we had some meat nachos just because. We're going to eat our meat before we go in.
Bring in a Slim Jim
You're
or two.
technically bringing it in your stomach.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I broke Morrissey's rule, right? But he still looks great for being 60 years old too. But he's a fucking awesome entertainer. He's a very great voice. So many people, he's a polarizing kind of a figure, but his live show is what you got to go see. And then Amy said too that Interpol was awesome.
I dig Interpol.
Was great to see.
I'd be more excited to see Interpol just because I know them. I'm not as much of a Morrissey fan. I like the Smiths. And I like Morrissey, but I'd be stoked to see
Morrissey
Interpol.
is a huge entity in Mexico.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Crazy, right?
Smiths,
would
like
would not think that.
The Latino community.
But of course, it was in fucking Ant-Man. Ant-Man 2. You know, they had, you know,
Yes.
where they talked about Morrissey being on the jukebox.
Wasn't there
you
like
know?
a shrine or
Yeah.
something?
It was all about, they love his melancholy ballads, right?
Something like that.
It's my wife's favorite, you know, entertainer of all time is Morrissey. And that's why I kind of was like, I got to go see him, you know, and it really did change. And if you get a chance to go see Morrissey live, that'd be something you have to experience, because he really, and I mean, he really does play to the audience, and he's very appreciative too. And